Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as the case may be, whenever you're watching this. Welcome back to The View from Here. And I'm Roy Pitta behind enemy lines. There's Mike Salvaggio. He's just outside of enemy lines in Pennsylvania, the freer state of Pennsylvania. Not completely free, but pretty free.
Yeah,
Um,
I found out that we have the fourth largest population that has concealed carry permits.
cool. Nice.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
and you also have Senator Fetterman, who was going to be like, I mean, it was a bummer when he got elected, but he seems to be the only Democrat in the Senate who seems to have any brains,
Well,
who,
let's put it this way.
who has some common sense.
He was mentally disabled when he started off, and
Then
he
he got a
has,
stroke.
yeah. In truth, he should not have run, because there was no way of knowing that he was going to be competent, because his condition was not short lived.
Yeah, but
And
the Democrats have a track record with Biden already.
well, I understand that. It's just I don't think he should have run at all. But now that
No, of
he's
course
there,
not.
and now that he's quite a
Come to his
surprise,
senses.
he's he's quite the opposite of what were worried. We were sure that he was going to be incompetent,
Well,
and
he's the
now,
opposite of what he was already.
but he's still a Democrat. He still
Yes.
there's some things that I absolutely don't agree with, like when he tried to um, uh, include Trump and Biden in the same phrase and saying that they were both pursued because of political reasons. No, Biden
No. Shit.
criminal acts, whereas Trump did not. So there's a difference between a kangaroo court and justice.
Yeah, there's a difference between real crimes, such as those that Joe Biden is guilty of or is being accused of, and phony crimes that are made up out of whole cloth, which is what they were charging President Trump with. Which is why the cases are getting chopped down on appeal. They're getting thrown out of court one by one. That bitch Fannie Willis down in Atlanta was kicked off the case as the prosecuting DA
Right.
for whatever the hell it was she was doing down there.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
yeah. The yeah, there's a couple of things on my mind. I don't know which one to bring out first. I guess the first one is the woman that was set on fire in the subway.
oh yes,
And the guy who did it just sat back on the bench and watched. And as far as I'm concerned, they should be hung on the spot.
oh he should have been burned to death himself. Okay, her name was, by the way, Amelia Carter, and the media is trying to hide her face. So I saw that posted, so I put it on all my social media. I put that post on because the media is trying to hide what she looks like because they want, and then they're saying that he's just not well. He's not well, sure, but he shouldn't have even been in the country to begin with. So, to me, Biden and Mayorkas are directly responsible for this girl's death.
Well, when you have an asshole in the White House that commuted 47 um, murderers on death row, there's
37 to 40, I believe.
47, and he saved three of them. He left three of them because they were too high profile. But essentially, Biden is trying to basically run amok as much as possible for the last couple of weeks he's got left, trying to
Yeah.
do as much damage, trying to upset the apple cart as much as possible. He's just he's impish.
And I want to stress to our audience that when we say Biden, we are talking about whoever it is that is pulling Biden's strings, whoever the puppet master is. Biden is nothing but, as Anthony Calandro says, a a senile sock puppet.
But I don't know. I don't know. See, the thing is, he's still the president of the United States, and he might. I don't know how responsible he is for these things, because they're the kind of things that he can just write a piece of paper, zip,
Well, he
done.
can agree to them, no problem. He agrees because he is basically a damn leftist, and he is looking to destroy the nation as it is. He wants to pardon, preemptively pardon everybody in his administration and a lot of people who weren't even in his administration, like that lying sack of shit in California. What's his name? Schiff, Adam Schiff,
Okay.
and that bitch who has now. They have proof now that she interfered with at least one. She tampered with at least one of the witnesses of January 6th. At least one. Okay, they have proof of that. That's Cheney, Liz Cheney.
Okay.
And I
Well,
hope to God that once Trump gets in, pardons these January 6 people, and commutes the sentences of those who did already, who did actually do some harm while they were trespassing. I hope they all sue for a lot of money. And the problem is, we should make it so that these people they're suing are going to be responsible for at least half of it, not just the taxpayer.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the process is going to be. It is the amount of harm done is so egregious.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to say. First of all, there's nothing that you can do to make up for the wrong that's been done for them all these years.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we as a people should have revolted and freed those folks.
Oh, right away. That should have been our Bastille Day.
Yeah, but the thing is that I don't know.
Soft living makes for soft responses.
Of course, I mean, if you're living the life of luxury, you're
You don't want to ruin that.
well, it's not even a question of ruining it. You don't have the wherewithal in order to be able, or the gumption to do
Motivation.
this. Yeah, I mean, if you have people and they're always being babied and helicoptered and so forth like that, you can't expect them to actually stand when there's a real catastrophe.
Yeah.
They're just not determined and self-reliant enough.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of these people that we have in this country simply have no memory of freedom.
Yeah. Well, I heard somebody today say, who was it? Mark Young saying on his podcast today, Blunt Force Truth. He was saying that a lot of young people, a lot of people who've been born in the last 40 years or so, are not even aware of all the freedoms that they have lost. You and
Right.
I, you and I come from a different era where most of the time everything was legal unless the government passed a law against it. Nowadays, everything is illegal unless the government tells you it's legal, which is not the way it's supposed to be, not the way the founders intended it to be, not the way the Constitution says it's supposed to be. Okay?
Well, there was a lot of stuff that I thought should not have been illegal that was legal. I mean that should not have been illegal. Such as I at the time, I didn't believe that smoking marijuana should be illegal. I didn't think that hitchhiking should be illegal, etc., etc. My view on these.
Hitchhiking has its own dangers and punishments.
Well, the thing is, if you're hitchhiking on a major throughway and you're interfering with traffic flow, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
So there's this way, situational solutions that don't necessarily seem right or wrong right off the bat. I don't know, but there was in our generation we had our share of problems. We had a share of issues that we felt that were being downtrodden upon. Um, you know, um, there were, there's always something, it seems, that has to be fixed in society. Society uh, is an undulating um, creature, and it just is constantly trying to find its way. And so, like the hippie movement, right? What was that? That was about being trying to find what was considered a sense of peace,
Uh-huh.
a sense of unity, and maybe a new connection with nature, etc., etc. When in fact, my experience was it was basically an excuse to be irresponsible.
Right.
So, it's and I was guilty of that as well. So I don't know, the when you say 40 or under, um, yes, they're more comfortable in this environment because they were raised in it. They 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 have no contrast.
Right. They
We
have, yeah, they have nothing to compare it to. And you know what? Somebody else, I saw a short clip by a guy of this one of these generations, Gen Z, not Gen Z. Gen Z is actually starting to turn things around again. Gen X, I guess. And he said, "Yeah, you guys blame us millennials and Gen Xers for being the way we are, but you got to remember, it's you boomers who turned us that way, who were always slathering us with wipes and not letting us get dirty outside and so forth. Everything that you did, you didn't let us do. Well, not everyone, but I mean a large proportion of the boomers were overprotective. They were helicopter parenting.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think that became a little bit stronger in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
There was this paranoia that seemed to have happened in the 80s with parenting. And in truth, I don't know how insulated I made my kids. I don't think I did. Um, but then again, you don't see your own faults a lot of times, so maybe I screwed up. But
well, we allowed our kids to go out and get dirty and play on the street. They were playing outside every day with almost every day with their friends, and or in the backyard, whatever. And they got a lot of sunshine, fresh air, whatever, as fresh as the air around here can be, anyway. And yeah, it was once we moved to the suburbs. They were starting to get older, and we could let them go out and so forth. In a more urban area where we lived at first, you're a little fearful. Yeah.
yeah, it's just that Aristotle or Plato, I forget which one was actually in existence, um, wrote a thing about the youth and basically said that the youth was lazy and corrupt, etc., etc. And this is back, in their time.
Yeah.
And
Well, every
so,
generation they've said that.
right. So the point is that maybe we're just being too judgmental. Um, because
Presentism.
yeah, it's just that um, the interesting thing is Gen Z seems to be more responsive, and I think that's because the pressure cooker is built up some steam, and they don't like what they're experiencing. And
Well, they've seen through the bullshit.
yeah,
Did you see? Go ahead. Did you see what President Trump said yesterday in a speech?
he
And
says
this
a
is
lot.
great. This is Trump because Trump says things that people go, "Oh, you shouldn't say that. He's in politics. You shouldn't say." Yes, you should be honest. People always complain, like I've said before, all my life that politicians are never honest and this and that. Well, here's a guy who's bluntly honest, and they don't like it because he talks like they do. One, two, he tells them truths they don't want to hear. He said, "Woke is bullshit." Okay, and
Yeah.
that's something that's going to go down in history as a quote. I hope.
Well, here's the thing. Now's the time to say it because wokeism is dying, and what a
Thank
little
God.
left, like the DEI and all that other stuff, that's being crushed.
Hmm.
Um, and that's mostly because the fact that it's no longer profitable for a company to support that, because the conservative movement is so strong, they're losing fine money by doing it. So
They're
again,
losing customers. Yeah.
the bill that determines the ethics and morality of this country.
Yeah.
But
But the
uh,
wokeism itself was made things more expensive, not only for the company but for the consumers. So
that's
it
not,
contributed in a way to inflation.
to be honest with you, the issue of wokeism for me has always been the injustice of the bigot um, pointing at the victim and saying, "You're a bigot." They are basically constantly projecting their own sickness upon other people, and calling the people that they dislike for being exactly what they are.
Yeah,
Not
well,
not.
that's their playbook anyway.
It's a
Well, I
good
mean,
point.
what's his
Yeah,
name? That jerk off who Hillary Clinton said was her mentor. Uh, the jerk off who wrote the book Rules for Radicals. I forget his name now, but he said always, and the Nazis did the same thing. Goebbels said it. You always blame the other side, claim the other side is doing what you're doing.
right, right. Yeah, that I think isn't that part of the Communist Manifesto?
I don't know if it
But
might
anyway,
be. I don't know.
but it
He
is
might
an
have had that concept in there.
yeah. The whole point of this particular neo-communist, whatever they are, is to basically um, uh, confuse and obscure um, the view of reality, and basically make people confront un, you know, things that really aren't an issue, like gender, right? Sex,
There is
right?
no gender except
I
in language.
said gender, then I said sex.
No,
So
yeah, I
the
know.
thing is that the point is that there in the human race. I don't know if it's different in other creatures, but in the human race, there are two sexual components: the male and the female, right? And this invention that there is some sort of um, sexuality that exists.
Different sexuality. Yeah.
Yeah, but
No,
the thing is, it's not sex; it's
no.
gender.
It
Because
is it is variations among each of in those two sexes
right,
that create these 52 or whatever number different
possible,
proclivities. But those
right,
proclivities aren't sexes, different sexes.
right. They're genders, because a gender is not a sex. It is a uh it's an invention. Okay, so
Yeah,
like
taken from a grammatical rule.
they have gender in their language. Mesa is a female. They imbue the table as being female. Okay, they
Right,
imbue certain things as being male and female. So
right.
that's
The
gender,
Romance languages do that.
right? So the point is that um, once you've established that you can imbue something with a so-called sexual characteristic just by defining it that way, then you're allowed to invent as many as you want.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I mean, they butcher the English language and grammar all the time because, you know, I call myself they, them. No, you're not. You're an individual. Okay. Is that your alarm going off?
Yep.
I thought so. I was going to ask you about it, but I figured since it wasn't disturbing you. Anyway, while Mike's gone, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. It's as we're taping this, it's December 23rd, so we're 2 days away from Christmas, 3 days away from Hanukkah. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah in advance. And I hope Santa's good to you.
Fuck Kwanzaa.
Well, Kwanzaa was made up by a rapist who's a scumbag, and he, see how easily so many people get caught up in that stupid thing.
Well, that Kwanzaa thing reminds me of the woke movement. It's just more bullshit.
The what movement?
Woke.
Woke. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. He was a pioneer, then you could say.
Did you hear what Trump said about the Panama Canal?
Yes, and but that he maybe we should take it back. However, right. Did you know that there's a clause in the sale for $1 that Jimmy Carter gave it back to Panama that says if an enemy power takes control of the canal, that the United States has the right to reclaim it. And the Panamanians haven't been running it for the past I don't know how many years. They have allowed a Chinese company with ties to Red China to run the Panama Canal. Right. And they're paying, I think they said it was costing like, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars for a ship to pass from one end to the other. That's ridiculous. This is also pushing inflation, driving inflation, you know?
Well, the thing is that we had an agreement with Panama that the canal would be American for so many years, and then it would fall to them after 100 years. So everybody says Jimmy Carter gave it to him, but Jimmy Carter reached a point where he said, "Okay, time's up. Let's keep our agreement." So,
do you know how many Americans died building that canal?
That has nothing to do with it.
It was 35,000 American lives.
So fucking what? It has nothing to do with it. If you make an agreement with somebody and say you've got this property for 100 years, and then 100 years comes up, you don't have the property anymore.
Are you sure that came up? That 100 years was the agreement with Hong Kong. I know.
No.
I don't know about the Panama Canal. That was an agreement between England and Hong Kong.
If you're not sure, then that's okay. I can understand it. A lot of people don't know that. But the thing is, the Panama Canal, because it was made in Panama, there was an understanding that, the United States would give it back to them after 100 years. So, you make agreements like that because you think 100 years, shit, that's like forever,
It wasn't even 100 years, Doug.
I don't know.
It wasn't even 100 years. I mean, the canal was built in the early 1900s, but Carter gave it back to them in 1980, I believe.
Okay.
But just before, maybe in the late 70s.
Well, here's the thing. I have no problem with if the Panama Canal is being wrongly used, and we are the ones who actually built it, and if they're not going to respect that, Panama Canal is essential to the well-being of the United States. And whether they like it or not, they can go fuck themselves if they don't do right by us.
Well, here's what we could do. We could take control of the canal, allow them to run it, allow them to profit from it, or we will run it and let them profit from it. But we run it. We protect it. Okay? And
first of all, I would say, well, the way to do it, if you're going to take it back, they don't fucking run it. They have no authority over it, and you can pay them.
Let them run it, is what I'm saying.
I would say no, because we've already lost faith in them. I say take it back, and
they gave it to China to run. That's why.
Well, then take it back.
They can't run it. We'll run it for you, not China. In fact, we should have been the ones that came to it. Trump? We can't do this. We can't handle it. Can you do it for us?
Trump wants to buy Greenland.
That's the other thing. Well, not just, he's talking about Greenland. And Greenland is, if you look at the map, where it's situated, very strategic. Plus, if anything in the Arctic blows up, I mean, that's very close to the Arctic Circle too.
Yeah,
So
it's
if nothing else, Trump may be going to either expanding the United States territory by a large chunk, or if we do buy it from Denmark, or we could, maybe get some kind of presence in Greenland, military presence.
yeah.
I think that's the whole thing. He doesn't necessarily, if Denmark sells it and if the people of Greenland agree, then I see no problem. But if they don't want to do it, just, we can pressure them to get a base. But
I have,
I like the
I
way
have.
he's referring to Trudeau as Governor Canadian Governor Trudeau.
Jesus. I have a
Scumbag.
great deal of difficulty being objective when it comes to Trump because I have so much faith in him. I will just invent, you know, acceptability, in his behalf. I just want to believe he knows what the hell he's doing.
I think he
So
does. For example, what do you think about this talk about the tariffs?
I don't have a problem with tariffs.
Me neither.
Tariffs, yeah, tariffs are a way of controlling um, outside countries from overwhelming our business in our own
Okay.
country.
One, this country was built on tariffs. That's what built the country up until 1913, when Woodrow Wilson, may he roast in hell, got the income tax passed. An income tax which several presidents had turned down, and those presidents were turned that plus a central banking system down, and those presidents were assassinated or almost assassinated.
What was it? Jefferson? Jefferson said, you don't want a central bank?
Yeah, everybody didn't want a central bank. Hamilton did,
Hmm.
but Jefferson did, and Jackson was the first one to turn it down. And Jackson was almost assassinated at least a couple of times. Okay, and then Lincoln was against the central bank and against an income tax, although he did impose, I think, an income tax, if I'm correct. He had one during the Civil War, but then it ended right after the war. But he was assassinated because he was opposed central banking. I don't think it was because of the South so much.
Do you
Then
know? If,
Garfield openly opposed the central bank. He got off. All
do you
right,
know if the Senate passed the
1,500 page bill.
yeah.
Well, what happened was the American public set such an outcry that they trimmed it down
Yeah.
to, I think, 120
150
pages,
pages. Okay, 120.
and then they voted on each thing individually rather than the whole package, which is how it should be, which is how they never do it. So Speaker Johnson, he's an asshole. He may have to go the way of McCarthy. He's just he's a weak Republican. He's half a rhino. That's bad enough, though. Yeah. What was it? We were talking about Greenland. Okay. There was something else that came to mind. I can't remember what it was, though. Anyway,
Greenland?
what?
You said Greenland?
No, we already talked about Greenland,
Okay.
but
Let's talk about Christmas.
Christmas again. Okay. Yeah.
But it hasn't come yet, so
No, I know.
it's
It's
worth
2 days
talking about.
away. Christmas is 2 days away,
Yeah,
and
tomorrow's Eve.
tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Very hallowed night. Very. Tomorrow, you got to get your shopping done by 6 o'clock, the latest, in most places. Rarely will you see some stores open, like maybe food stores, bakeries, and so forth, till a little later. Most of them want to get home to their families.
Did I
Restaurants might be open a little later.
tell you about my incident with the bank?
You told me, but you didn't tell the audience, and I don't know if you want to. But
Well,
obviously you do.
I was tricked by a confidence man, I guess, on the phone. I thought I was talking to Wells Fargo, and he walked me through a couple of things. He said, I got to shut down my credit cards. I got to shut down my bank card. he told me all this stuff, which sounded to me like he was helping me.
Right. But then he asked you for the numbers?
No. I think I wasn't. No, I didn't do that. He just needed to double. He said, "I just need your the name that you go by. You know, on the account name. I forget what that's
Okay.
called.
They had your number. They didn't have the name on the account.
Well, they had the phone number, but they wanted to know. You know how you name like the name that you go by in an account.
Yeah.
I forget the proper term for that. But anyway,
The title of the account.
right. Yeah, that's not really it, but okay, fine. So the thing is that
Owner of the account. Owner.
but that's not the proper term. Anyway, the thing is that so he said that in order to truly protect my account, I'd have to withdraw my entire account and move it to another account, and it just felt fishy. So then I went ahead and I came back home and I decided to change my password and shut down the account.
Right.
And then call Wells Fargo. When I went into my account, which I found out was not the easiest thing to do, I discovered that $4,000 was moved from my savings account to my checking account.
Wow.
So I had not moved it. Somebody else moved it.
Yeah.
So, but at that point, I had already changed the
So
password.
they couldn't get in to take it out.
Yeah, so I called up Wells Fargo, and they completely closed the account. And then from there on in, I had to do everything at the branch. But
Well,
the
go
thing
ahead.
is that what I learned was that essentially you can't trust anybody on the phone.
No.
And I know that sounds obvious, but these people are very convincing. and they
Yeah, but
and
the
they
lesson
gave me a
here is,
quote. Yeah,
go ahead.
I mean they said, this is an emergency. Did you charge it? Did you charge this down in Fort Lauderdale? No. Did you charge this in Miami? No. Okay. Well, did somebody tried to do that when we stopped them? But we really need for you to go home and shut your cards. So that sounds to me like somebody who's trying to help me. Because if I shut the cards, then that's
Let me
it.
tell you something. If that happens, they will tell you we're shutting your card down. You don't have to do it. They will shut it down and send you a new card. And also, if anybody calls you saying they're from a bank or a credit card, whatever, you don't give out any information or talk to them on the thing. You say, I'll have to call you back. And you call the bank itself. And they
Yes.
said, I've done it with even PayPal. They said, oh, you
Right.
got to charge for $800. Oh, you got to charge for that. And I go
Right.
to
But
look, there's no charges there. They wanted me to click on a link to verify or
it's
not
obvious.
verify.
It's obvious now. Okay. But the
Yeah.
thing is
It's not
that
obvious at the moment. Yeah.
I've gotten calls from Wells Fargo just like this, telling me that somebody has compromised my account. So it was not an unfamiliar experience.
Okay. Well, that's what they do. They know that Wells Fargo does this, so we'll imitate them.
Right. And my point is this: if that happens, then in the future, I recommend this to everybody else. Immediately say, "Well, thank you very much. Give me your
I'll
name,
handle it.
etc.," and then call the security themselves, and then report that
Right.
particular phone call. So, but the thing is that it just it felt familiar, but it felt like they were helping me out.
Yeah.
But
Well, they even send emails that look genuine.
well, that's what I've been dealing with that for the past month.
The
So
problem is what they'll do is they'll put a Cyrillic alphabet letter in there instead of a one R alphabet letter, like maybe a U, maybe an N, but you can't tell the difference. or you might be able to tell if you look really closely. But who's going to do that? And then that takes you to a site like they'll say, click here to verify or click here to stop the payment or whatever. And you click there, forget it. What you got to do is delete that thing, or get out of the email. Maybe send it to abuse at whatever bank.
Without making things complicated, it's real simple. If you think
Don't
you have a
click on a
problem,
link. Don't click.
if you think you have a problem, contact your security people.
Yes.
Yeah, and do not do business with somebody who you have not initiated that relationship.
Exactly.
That's it.
If you didn't initiate the call, don't talk to them.
Well, yes, unless of course you draw information out of them. Because you
can do that, but they're pretty shrewd. They're pretty shrewd.
Yeah, well,
and if they weren't, they wouldn't be doing this all the time.
So that's the reason why we're talking about this right now, because the thing is that
around Christmas time you're going to be busy. You might not think.
I talked to the security people at Wells Fargo, and they told me, yeah, this is a new scam. The thing is that before they were just about skimming cards and getting numbers and just directly charging things to you and drawing money out. This is different. This is themselves representing themselves as Wells Fargo itself or whomever, and basically, I don't know how they got into my account, because I think
here's another common one that's becoming common. I get emails sometimes and usually texts, supposedly from the USPS, which is bullshit. And they're saying today, for example, I got one that said, you have a USPS parcel being cleared. Due to the detection of an invalid zip code address, the parcel cannot be cleared. The parcel is temporarily detained. Please confirm the zip code address information in the link within 24 hours. Fuck you, I ain't touching that link.
Right. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of stuff I just don't touch.
Yeah, and they want you to answer with a Y and exit the message and open it again to activate the link. Oh my God. I shouldn't have opened it again. I'm going to delete this stuff.
So there's that thing. There's be very wary. These people sound and behave the same as the authorities that you normally deal with. So just be aware that if you do not initiate that relationship, then it is suspect.
Also, every few months, you can set it at 2 months, 3 months. If you're paranoid, 1 month. Or 6 months, or every year at the very least, change your passwords.
Yeah, but the thing is that I don't know how they got in. I talked to the security people, and they had no evidence that my password or my that my password was compromised.
No, but they had your number, your account number somehow.
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
They attached it to your name, and they got your phone number.
The normal thing is to take your number and use it to basically charge or do something. And this was different. This was very different. They went
right from your checking and savings account. Yeah,
they got into my account, and Wells Fargo doesn't know how they did it.
Right.
So I'm just saying,
could be an inside job. Could be somebody at Wells Fargo.
Well, that's another thing. They said, do not talk to the tellers because we're doing a federal investigation. There are tellers that we believe are compromised, and we don't want to give away our investigation. So that was the little gimmick.
You just gave it away.
No, I didn't.
You just told the world, or at least the 6 people who listen to us.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
40 people or so. 40 people or so. Yeah. We're growing. And you know what?
Actually, I talked to Wells Fargo, and they said that during the holidays, especially Christmas, this is their season to make the most money in regards to scams.
because everybody's using their thing online. Everybody's worried about
Yeah, but
about
I don't. That's the thing. I don't. I use cash.
yeah,
So this is why they found a way to get around that.
yeah, yeah. No. I did have a couple of things on PayPal that they did charge, but then PayPal refunded me a smaller
I hate,
amount, not that 800 one. There were some where they had charges where I supposedly I'd bought and ordered something from some state in the South that was shipped to Utah.
I forget years ago PayPal did some really was targeting, I believe, targeting conservatives and interfering with their processes and
Well,
giving
Bank
them.
of America is doing that to gun owners.
Yeah,
If you're, they have closed accounts of people who they know own guns or
right.
activists in the gun lobby.
They know if you've been sleeping. They know if you're awake.
Yeah.
They know if you've been bad or good. So you
All
better be
right.
good, goodness sake.
I have some calls I have to return. So we've
Okay,
gone
so
about 41
hey,
minutes. I know it's a short episode,
no,
but
that's okay. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep.
and it's past Mike's bedtime.
Well, it's
And
no, it's not past Mike's bedtime. It's just that you're a boring fuck. You put me
anyway,
to sleep.
anyway, remember this. And do not talk to anybody who calls you claiming to be someone who has any who's trying to get information about your finances, your social security number, anything like that. Not even your address. You don't want to do that. What you do is you tell them, "I'll call you back to verify. Give me your number."
Initiate the conversation with security. Do not trust people calling you.
Yeah. And a lot of financial institutions will never call you to ask you certain things. Like they might call and say, "We just want to verify it's you. What's your password on your account, or what are the three digits on your credit card?" No. Sorry, pal, you're not getting that. And the banks themselves say we will never ask for that information.
Right.
Okay.
So, Merry Christmas. Have a
Merry
very
Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas,
fine
Mike. You and I have to meet. It's not going to happen before
next
Christmas.
week.
I'm going to try and do it next week before New Year's.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So, and we'll see, and we'll do a show when we do meet.
Right.
It might even be a live stream. I don't know. I'll decide at the moment if I'm going to put it live while we're taping it, or just tape it and do it later on.
Oh yeah. Let's keep it a surprise. So anyway,
No,
good night, everybody.
no. I'm not keeping it a surprise. I said I'm going to decide at the time.
Surprise.
It's not a surprise.
It's
All
a
right.
surprise.
Anyway, have a good night, folks. If you like the show, please rate and share it. Share it with everybody. We're trying to grow the audience.
No.
What?
I don't want the audience to grow. Stop do not like us. Okay? Otherwise I'm gonna be stuck.
If you don't like us, give us a 4-star rating, not a 5. But share us anyway. Share us with your enemies, your friends, whatever.
All right.
Okay. All right. Have a good night, and we'll see you. We'll see you before the new year.
When we see you.
We'll see you when we see you before the new year. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and the rest of you. You don't deserve. You don't deserve to be congratulated on whatever you.
Kwanzaa.
I don't give a damn.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.